Now, since we're on Ascent, ladies and gentlemen, a cornerstone to this map is, of course, picking Killjoy and Sova. We're going to see that on the side of Godset. Sanji, as I mentioned, picking it up with the Sova, and Fractured is going to be flexing that Sentinel right now. On the flip side, we're going to see SU Truonks. He's playing with the idea of Killjoy, has not locked in quite yet, but the initiator on the side of SU does not seem to be Sova. Actually, we're looking at Breach. And for those of you who have not kept up to date with the Valorant patch notes, patch 3.0 came with a lot of changes. There are no characters that have 3 flashes anymore. Breach and Sky have been knocked down to 2 flashes, but those flashes can recharge. You need to buy multiple charges of said flashes. So that's going to change up the style a little bit in terms of being able to spam that utility going into a site. And so we're going to have to see how Swift Uprising maneuvers that change in utility, because information is key on Ascent, especially with all the wall bangable spots, particularly for retake and site hold. Sova does tend to come out on top. He has one of the highest pick rates on this map. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are out here with the pistol round. As I said, Godset here starting on the defense. And we're going to have to work through a whole lot today. But with this first round, we're hoping to see a little bit of action. Swift Uprising doing something that we don't normally see out here. And that would be starting off towards the B side. And oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Folks, I was expecting a full stack towards the B side, but now we're seeing a split up from Swift Uprising. Presence on both halves of the map, which is awesome to see on Pistol, playing strategically instead of run and gun. Aster and Fractured here in the B main, here in Orb getting picked up. They're prepping to stall as smoke comes out. And Swift Uprising is not too keen to take anything immediately. They can probably hear that turret across the wall. And so they're going to go ahead and take their time talking about how they want to execute. What they don't know is that the only thing holding mid is Fractured and an alarm bot. Obi peeks out from Catwalk, is able to get a first pick, a nice headshot onto King Dark, and that's going to be a painful dropout for him. Going to put Godset in the lead in a very, very slow pistol round. Now there's no Sage, so Obi has taken some damage, and so that's going to be a little bit of a comfort for Swift Uprising, but they need to capitalize on it, and right now they are not doing so. They are working their way up the catwalk, but again, they get picked. Afterburners dropped onto the ground. Another headshot out of Obi. He's still at that 60 health, not received any more damage. Fractured here is holding out. Here's a stampede of players coming in through the market. His turret fires off. He's going to go ahead and peek out. Fine. 2 picks. Truonks and Nice who fall, and Aster right around to trade. Prince goes down with the classic shot to the head. It's 1-0 for Godset. And that was an amazing performance by Obi. So like I said, folks, he's a trailblazer. He loves to play that jet, and he's showing us exactly why he does so. So moving into round 2, of course, Godset is going to go into their standard buy-up. You know that when you win round 1 on that pistol, you're going to force to the round 2 and secure that round 2. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Swift Uprising to make a little bit of counterplay. And oh, here comes some aggression from Godset. They're working up A. Nice who has his flash out. He switches off. He jiggles with his knife, but drops. Sanji is around the corner with his Ares. And that's it. It's a pick again. A Godset with an opening pick. But Obi is going to be the first one to fall on his team this round. And that's going to be the site for Swift Uprising. They're actually going to be able to get the plant down, but Eden is moving right on in. He does not check his corner. King Dark is going to find that pick. Sanji is going to find a man in the meantime. Prince is going to go down. That's both Jets fallen. Trunks is going to take out Sanji out in the A main as well. And all of a sudden, what was Godset's round is now looking to be pretty difficult. Aster with the spray down. King Dark in the grave. And it's up to Fractured and Aster to make something happen. Fractured checks the wrong corner, but is able to recover. It is Afterburners who falls. Trunks is stuck in A main. And although he has the mollies, they're going to get sprayed through. And speaking of spraying through, it's the Ares through the smoke. but it's not enough to stop the defuse. Aster is just going to pick up that round very easily, as well as Trunks. Fractured, we're not going to talk about that whiff. If he whiffs again like that, we're going to go through hell week at practice. So we're moving on into round 3. Now, this is going to be actually an advantageous round for Swift Uprising because so many players on Godset died on their bonus round, right? So what's really important on bonus rounds, or sorry, on round 2s is to stay alive as well when you secure the win. So now they won't be able to bonus as effectively here on round 3, where Swift Uprising is going to be able to have the full rifle loadout. They do have 2 Phantoms and 3 Vandals, all with full armor. Godset not looking as great with, 2 Spectres, a Judge, and 2 Frenzies with light armor. Positioning-wise, we see the AB split out of Swift Uprising, making an identity for themselves when it comes to pushing up both A main and B, but we're not seeing any aggressive peaks from Catwalk to secure market. So although Fractured is not peaking, he knows that on the side of Swift Uprising. Godset playing with a lot of patience. They're not trying to full send anything and make any aggressive plays with their lack of equipment. Swift Uprising also mimicking that, not wanting to enter too quickly and fall into the possibility of a judge. These are all smart players. They know what can be bought in this round. They're not trying to get cheesed out and lose their guns this early. Fractured is going to hear a little bit, get a little bit of information because his alarm bot is broken. He's going to be approached, but he's going to get 2 picks. Meanwhile, Obi finds another one with his judge. Afterburners and Truonks are going to get picks of their own, but it's not enough because now they are an agent down. Truonks and King Dark have to make some magic happen. They are on site. They have made it to the plant, but it is 2 rifles now in the hands of Godset. Perhaps even a third if Eden can get his hands on one. The dart goes out. Godset now knows that both players have to be stuck in the back. A molly by King onto King Dark is going to force him to reposition. Fractured is holding the stairs. He can't go any further. Truonks and King Dark fall with a simultaneous push. Fractured and Sanji come out on top. And a beautiful wallbang, particularly out of Sanji. We're going to let Fractured pick up this ultimate orb on the defuse. He is 6-0, lockdown ready. And on the board, going into this 4th round, Godset is confident. Now, this is a dangerous position here for Swift Uprising. When you lose your buy round like that against a team that's bonusing, you're going to be broke. And here we see that reflected. They're opting for Deagles and Marshals. Meanwhile, Godset has those rifles that they didn't even have to buy, plus Obi on the operator. And that's going to put a quick stop to any push, especially by Truonks, who's trying to jiggle mid. He falls immediately. And that's something you just don't want to happen so early in the round, and unfortunately it does. When you're Swift Uprising, you're not feeling too great about how the momentum of the game is going. Prince dashes directly onto site. Eden gets a little bit of damage and did pick onto King Dark, but is unable to finish the job onto Prince and gets finished off by Afterburners. That's okay. Godset is in a little bit of a better position. They haven't given up too much equipment, and it's a lot of health dropped by the side of Swift Uprising. And as soon as I say that, it's Prince that gets a pick, traded out by Fractured. Old Reliable there on that Killjoy pick. And they predict the rotation out of Swift Uprising. If you look at the minimap right now, folks, Fractured has made his way over to B, and Swift Uprising is going to be spotted by this turret. They try to move, they try to peek B main, and there we go. We see that turret go off. Afterburner's taking a little bit of chip damage, tries to cross over, is going to take even more from the Nano Swarms, goes for the Spike Plant, so okay, he's going to get a little bit closer to the ult orb. The Spike will start ticking. Naisu is holding market with that Marshall, but what he doesn't know is that both players of Godset have moved over to CT, so he's holding an angle with nobody there. He's going to be darted as well. Spotted. Sanji is going to turn away, but realizes he does not need to do anything. Afterburners, a clean headshot with that Sheriff, is going to take Fractured out, leading him to his first death. Sanji is able to turn onto Naisu, but Afterburners is simply too clean with that Sheriff. Godset drops their first round. So what happened on the bonus round to Swift Uprising? How they lost a round, which they should have won. They returned the favor right back. Godset now in an awkward position with their economy. Obi is going to have those knives. The Blade Storm is ready. But Aster and Eden are going to be retired to the Sheriff, while Swift Uprising gets to take their equipment for ultimates and all of these rifles into this 5th round. Eden jiggling for a pick, unable to get one. In fact, gets picked off himself. Prince is the one who lands the killing blow. Dashing straight on top of that generator. Afterburner's in right after. Is going to close the door and get a wall. That's a site secured. A drone comes out by Sanji. He's going to get a little bit of information, see what's going on. He realizes the site is crawling with enemies, and he needs his duelist to make a move. It's all up to Obi to take these first picks, and the jiggles with his Blade Storm that he has out. Aster is right behind him. The arrow's going out for a little bit of information. Prince is not going to fall to the knives. The right click whiffs. It's 2 sprays for Prince. Sanji is going to find 2 on his own as well. Now we're in a 2v2 situation. Fractured is blinded, but easily goes around, turns into a main. Taken out by Naisu, who finds the second pick onto Sanji, who goes in for the defuse, does not check for those nades, and that is a second round on the board for Swift Uprising. We're 3-2. And I was talking in round 3 about how the momentum shifted in Godset's favor, and it has swung back just as easily. Swift Uprising does not want to go down without a fight. All right, production has just informed me I am pronouncing it incorrectly. Eden is how we're going to be referring to Godset's arena. We see a dash out of Prince again, the signature dash onto Generator, but he's going to be picked off this time. Eden is not going to fall for the same trick twice. He's going to be forced off that angle, however, because of the breach shock. Fractured is going to take classic headshots into afterburners for breakfast. Naisu is going to find a pick of his own alongside Truonks, but Eden and Sanji are going to return the favor. It's 3 versus 1. King Dark is on his own. Uh-oh. It looks like we're running into some technical difficulties. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon me. Okay, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the lack of cast for that last round. My Unvalorant just crashed, but we're loaded right back into the game, ready to go. And we're going to go ahead and flow on into round 7. Obi's going to find an initial pick. Truonks is going to regret taking that swing. It's 4-5 Uprising with an agent down. Obi is going to go ahead and reposition back towards the CT. And we see Sanji trying to get a little bit of information with his drone. Is he able to spot anyone? However, it's going to be a no. Afterburners and Naisu now occupying the B tiles. They're looking for someone to peek out of tree, but it's not going to happen. Eden is holding it tight by glass.
I have the spike.
Looks like Swift Uprising, although getting initially picked off in the B main, are looking to enter forward into the B site regardless. They have both smokes on King Dark. First smoke sent out towards market. Second one coming out onto CT. That makes Obi's line of sight cut off. He's not going to be able to do much with that operator, but it's okay because Aster's going to spray down too. The spike drops outside of his smoke as well. That's Godset's control over this spike. And that's a really bad position to be in when you're a Swift Uprising. You need to get closer to even pick up that spike and go the other direction. And with 3 players down, they're not looking too hot. They do have a Sage res, so if they can get a pick or two, it might be possible. Aster's crosshair right over Naisu, but just does not know, unable to left click.
One enemy remaining.
Eden's going to find the pick instead. Naisu goes down with a headshot, and it's Afterburner's opting to save his rifle. The timer runs out. That is the 5th round on the board for Godset. We're 5-2. Round 8. Swift Uprising has 4 ultimates on the table, yet we're surprised to have not seen any of them used quite yet. They're going to have the opportunity to buy all the rifles here, folks. So they might feel a little bit more comfortable using them now because they didn't want to use it on a save round. Fair enough. But they really need to get that Breach ult and the Killjoy lockdown off the table if they want to make an effective entry into these sites. Obi has proven to be a menace on this operator. And because he keeps floating that operator around on the map, Swift Uprising has no choice but to just play diligently, play slowly. We see a dash out by Prince, but he's going to get stopped by bullets and a molly. Aster getting a utility kill. Naisu going to be zoned off, and the Killjoy lockdown destroyed by Aster's ultimate as well. That's not a great feeling because that's a lot of expensive utility off the table. Both ultimates by Truonx and Naisu expended for nothing, not even a push into that site. That's Brimstone coming into work.
Shadows traveling.
Swift Uprising taking control of the mid now. All 4 players trying to cross over towards A, but they're going to be walking into a trap. It's Fractured set up completely, able to get the info. The alarm bar goes off. They're trying to lead into the site quickly. Obi is rotating around to help out Fractured. And as Swift Uprising floods the site, what they don't know is Fractured is there waiting for him. A gunfight pops out. He's going to lose it. King Dark is going to find that pick, and they're going to be able to get a little bit of a breath of fresh air. We see Truonx send a molly out to zone off Heaven players. Afterburner's moving into A main. The spike is down and ticking away. Godset struggling to find their footing and get out into the site. Sanji there in tree trying to get the wall down. He doesn't know King Dark is on top of it. An error here may lead to his death. No, King Dark falls. Obi again with the operator. Eden finding a pick out into Truonx in hell. Obi and Sanji cleaning up the rest in the meanwhile. And Sanji getting the defusal. That's going to put him a little bit closer to that Hunter's Fury. 2 out of 8. And man, oh man, Godset is proving to be a force to be reckoned with. We're moving into round 9, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's a little bit of a difficult buy here for Swift Uprising because Prince is going to be forced into... Or, excuse me, King Dark is going to be forced onto the Classic, is not going to have a weapon. In the mid, Sanji's going to spot a couple of players onto tiles. Still no movement out of Godset from the A side. They're not going to move on to map control. They're going to stay disciplined and hold their site. We know Obi has that operator again, and he's looking for a pick. Prince is going to get up on the double stack to try to find Sanji peeking out of market, but he won't do it. It's going to be King Dark working up with that Classic, but no one is close enough to be ready for the trade. And it might just be a victory here in terms of main advantage for Godset. But as soon as I say that, around the corner comes Afterburners. He's going to find the first pick. An arrow comes out revealing the information. Afterburners gets spotted and picked off as well. That's a double kill for Sanji. He's good for 2. If he swings around, he's going to find Naisu. He sees the utility come out, but not good for 3. Truonx and Naisu each finding a pick. Sanji falls alongside Obi. The operator's down and out of play. But Eden is around the corner. He's going to take out Truonx. And here comes Aster. He's going to go ahead and finish the job. The reliable B player on Brimstone. Naisu and Prince both fall 7-2. It's another round win for Godset. Moving forward into round 10. Again, economic situation not as great here for Swift Uprising. They do have a Sage res, so if they can find a couple picks by working together and get their equipment going, it is a potential for a round win. But Eden is going to be taking an aggressive angle here, something he has not done before, and will be rewarded for it. A molly by Aster is going to stall out the B main push, and yet again, it's a difficult situation for Swift Uprising as they drop 2 players. Afterburners comes with a return on the Sheriff, but Sanji is quick to move in. It's a 1v4 situation, but unfortunately, Prince does not have the equipment to get the job done. Eden with another pick, good for 2 there. 8 and 2. Godset is taking the momentum quickly.
Deep breath.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a user being quite rude and disgusting in the chat, just recently banned. Folks, please keep it clean. Please be respectful. To be blunt, stop saying stupid shit. Moving into round 11, Godset versus Swift Uprising. Afterburn is still holding on to that resurrection. King Dark is from the Shadows ultimate, not being used as well. Moving into A, Swift Uprising sends out 2 Cloudbursts, but they're being stalled off, staved away from this push. Prince with his signature dash into the site is going to take out Obi on the rifle. Fractured, however, finds 2, 1 with utility. Trunks is going to return the favor, but Aster, again, reliable as always, finding the pick he needs to stop that push once and for all. B versus 2 situation, Godset has opted to assume that the players have moved over to B, but Swift Uprising performed a fake out. They're back onto A. The bomb is planted, and they are in a secure position. I like Truonks' placement right here, but he's moving a little bit too far up. He does find Sanji. He does find Aster. All right, Eden's going to even it up to a 1v1. I was questioning the aggressive positioning. Oh, King Dark is spotted by Eden, but no. King Dark is going to come out on top with the swing. And that is going to be a round on the board. Finally for Swift Uprising, they break that 5 in a row round loss streak. And we're moving into round 12 to end the half. This is my boys over at Godset. We're gonna have to practice that one again. To Truonks, amazing positioning to move forward, have the confidence to take 2 picks, and then set your teammate up for a 1v1 situation that they win cleanly with the information that you get, because they even got the positioning on Eden in that situation. Drone out of Sanji again. You're going to get a little bit of information or not at all. It's 3 players on Swift Uprising moving toward the A. Again, Fractured is set up, and he's not letting anyone into that site for free. Sanji with the Hunter's Fury is going to send it out early. Going to get a little bit of chip damage off. Eden with the first pick onto Afterburners. That's the kill that we wanted to see. He's popping off with this Reyna pick and is absolutely nuts.
Off your feet!
Eden good for 2 as Prince falls. The Breach ultimate is not enough to stop him. Going to have to reposition to the utility, but is going to find a 3rd onto King Dark. Will he find a 4th? The spray down and the commit will not. Obi is going to save his life right there and then. And it's now Truonks left alone, but he has less than 50 HP. Doesn't need any more to find Sanji, but can't finish the job with Aster. It is a 4v1 situation for him there. To even get 1 is amazing. And it's 9-3 for Godset as they now start on the attacking side. Godset sending a full position out onto B tiles and B main. I wonder what they could be doing. Spoiler alert, I do know what they're doing. But what could it be? Setting up all the way around. Get this turret up onto the top of the B tiles wall. They get a smoke out onto Catwalk. That's going to block Prince's vision. They're moving into mid quickly. It's King, Dark, and Afterburners who have to get the picks, but no, they're going to fall instead. Afterburners opting to reposition. There's a player at logs. Will Godset be able to find him? No, Nisu is going to take out Fractured. The spike is going to go down, but Aster finds the pick onto Afterburners, and Eden onto Nisu. It's 4 versus 2 as Godset rushes through the Speedway. They're going to go ahead and get into position to get that plant down. Eden is going to pick up another ult orb. Obi in the corner around Market is going to get a little bit of damage and finish the job. A little bit intense there before he gets picked off by Prince. But Aster, what is a Prince to a King? A nice headshot to end that round with his Ghost, 10-3. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we might just be ending sooner than anticipated. 10-3, Godset taking the momentum, working every pick they can, taking map control as they please. Swift Uprising does have the opportunity for a comeback. We have seen them with their amazing positioning in the post plants. They just need to get that spike, or excuse me. We saw it on attack, their amazing positioning with post plants. Perhaps we can see that reflect in their defense a little bit. We are seeing a double stack here in tree, but it's not enough to stop Spectre users as they flood in and take the site. Afterburners getting updraft right clicked by Obi. That's not a great feeling. Eden forced to move out of the way as Nisu sends the blast his way. And the repositioning works in their favor as King Dark finds that pick, but Obi is not going to let Eden die in vain. Sanji with the shock darts needs to style on Afterburners, and Nisu is going to be the last to fall as Obi finds his 3rd kill here in round 14. Going into round 15, Godset is now going to have a better bonus than they had when they were on defense, and it's just going to be Eden on the Sheriff, which is A-okay because, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sure all of you know, they're going to be able to heal all that damage away and find a pick. Oh, excuse me, I even spoke too soon. We're going to see a buyout from a teammate. Eden is going to rock the Spectre as well. Godset in a formidable position. Swift Uprising forced with 3 light armors and a player not even on a rifle.
Revealing area. Deploying drone.
Prince zoned off of the active angle on Cat because he hears that drone from Sanji coming out. An amazing way to zone off players from those active peaks and preserve your own agents so they don't get killed off too early. It looks like Godset is opting for another mid push like they did on the pistol round. Obi is working his way up to Cat. He's about to meet with Prince. It's a Jet 1v1. Meanwhile, King Dark and Eden are going to meet. Obi's going to win. It's Jet diff. And King Dark is sitting there in the smoke. Nothing to do but wait patiently. The door is closed on Godset, but they're going to open it right up. King Dark is going to fall. Sanji predicted that type of play, and Nisu is now left alone on the site, is able to pick off Fractured. But is he able to finish off the job? No, Sanji's going to spray him through the wall with an Ares. Afterburners coming around to even up the match with 2 kills of his own. Sanji good for 3. And now it's all up to Truonx. He has a rifle in hand, and it's very doable for him. Aster may have full health, but only has a Spectre. And Sanji might have a rifle, but he's below 50 HP. It's an intense situation. What's the icing on the cake for Truonks is he has all the utility he needs to get information on peaks. Breaks the dart. His presence is known. Speedway is being held. Aster falls, but Sanji is going to be good for 4 to take Godset into match point. And that was some amazing positioning by Afterburners in that round to even it up and give Trunks that opportunity. Of course, Sanji really feeling himself to get that 4K, but we have to give Swift Uprising the credit where credit is due. The way they're falling off mid and understanding that they can fall back deeper into B site to sort of reject Godset's push, that's game knowledge you don't see out of a lot of teams, so they're playing wisely right now. It is simply Godset feeling themselves up right now. Aster is dropping below 50 health. He gets sprayed down through the wall in that cheese mechanic. You know that Odin through the wall is popular. You know it's something that people love to use. But it's strange to see it on a breach instead of a Sova. I mean, it works either way. An arrow comes out zoning mid. Sanji sees no one there, so he's going to go ahead and let his team know that they might need to start moving into it. What they don't know is at the very back of mid, Afterburners has now taken up space alongside his buddy, Prince, who has pushed out of a main, takes out Obi, but Aster quick to retaliate. That's Godset being punished for not having the rest of the map controlled. Now here Trunks is in a much better position because both Alarmbot and Turret are up to give him the information he needs for his team to rotate. And Godset is all stacked towards the catwalk. If they don't get this entry pick quickly, they're going to be stalled for the rest of the round. Trunks drops onto site, gets into a position where he can take a fight. But there's 3 to 4 players coming. Eden is one of them to take out King Dark. And Trunks is going to find Aster. But meanwhile, Eden is working through heaven and finds Afterburners on the rotate. Trunks, a second pick. He's good for 2 onto Sanji. And it's Fractured and Naisu. Eden and Trunks. Naisu's going to find this Eden. Finding him lurking and is going to punish him. The bomb is ticking away. It's Killjoy versus Killjoy. And Trunks is on top. He's good for 3. As he defends his site. Gets a defuse. And now they're just a round closer to getting this draw. Or excuse me, getting into tiebreaker. It'll be a difficult journey up, but it is possible. Right now, they've kind of created room for themselves in terms of the economy. Swift Uprising able to buy 4 rifles and then the signature Ares. Godset, on the other hand, not able to go anywhere except with, you know, a couple of Sheriffs and a Spectre. They do have 2 ultimates, the Hunter's Fury and the Bladestorm, and we know Obi's going to opt to use that this round. But it's all a matter of whether he can make something work. It's a matter of magic. He's going to get stunned out alongside Fractured. They're going to be stalled out and cannot help Aster, who's working his way up cap. Obi going with the updraft to try and get a couple kills, but King Dark is going to dodge all of those knives. Get out of the way. Afterburners in market, going to get a little bit of chip damage onto Obi with a spray through those smokes. But Obi has 1 knife in hand, and he's confident. He knows he wants to hit a headshot, and he's just posturing to do that exact thing. As he spots King Dark, and Prince is going to land a nice shot, but not enough to kill. It's a spray through. They find the presence of 3 players. They're counting it up. Godset now opts to go towards the mid. But that's heavily stacked as well because King Dark is always ready to rotate. His movement is unparalleled through this map. And again, Godset is finding themselves in a position where they're going to be stalled yet again. Afterburners' position on the stairs gets rid of Aster quickly and cleanly. Nicely wants to clear out Pizza. What he doesn't know, it's his Eden and Fractured sitting in. But it's A-okay because he has a crossfire with Trunks. So when the smoke goes down, it's SU on top. Naisu good for 3. And again, the positioning that we saw when SU was on attack side post plant, they are indeed applying it here on the defense. We have some amazing camera work. Look at this beautiful aerial shot here. Thank you, Tay. We're moving in. And Godset wants to enter into A all 5. They really want to run it down. It's an early bit of damage there onto Truonks, but Sanji is not able to land the killing blow. That's A-okay. He has got information to have. Obi dashing right on in, mimicking Prince's movements, but instead of towards the generator, out towards Dice. Aster zoning off the tree room with his ultimate, and Sanji finding the pick to finish off Truonks, the player he damaged earlier with his ultimate. But it's going to be a retake out of Breach. Prince is going to find the first pick onto Eden, but Sanji will retaliate with a pick onto King Dark of his own. Agent of Darkness being sent to the grave, and Sanji good for 4. Naisu is there to take out Obi. Will it be an ace to end the round? We see GS looking to allow Sanji to do his thing, but no, he does not get his gun fast enough before the swing, and Naisu is actually going to enter into this site with the kill onto Aster.
Attackers win.
Fractured coming out on top in what would have been an insane retake out of Swift Uprising, shutting down their dreams of a 6th round win. Then and there, he said, all right, guys, that was really cute. Sanji was, he almost got his ace. Very funny. Let's not throw this. He anchors down, digs his heels into the floor, and takes that round.